Hey, in this video, we'll learn how you can create integrations on Harness SEI. For this video, I'll be covering how you can create a GitHub integration using the GitHub App authentication medium. To learn more about how you can integrate SEI with other third-party tools, make sure to check out the SEI playlist. We have specific videos covering each of these integration-related configuration settings. Now, to configure or create integrations on Harness SEI, you should be an SEI admin, and you would find integration under the data settings under the account level scope. Now, once you're here, you'd essentially land onto this integrations landing page where we have two different sections. One is automated integrations, and then we have other integrations. Now, GitHub is a fully supported integration on Harness SEI, so it will be available under the automated section. So I'll quickly go ahead and click on install. The first step would be to select your GitHub account type. So in case you have a GitHub Cloud account, you would go ahead and choose it to be GitHub Cloud. In case you are someone using Enterprise Server, you would go ahead and choose Enterprise Server. Now the GitHub app works with the GitHub Cloud type integration, so I'll quickly go ahead and click on GitHub Cloud. Now there are two different authentication methods that I can use to connect to GitHub Cloud. One is using the GitHub app, which is available in the GitHub Marketplace, and the other one is using a personal access token. Now, the advantage of using the GitHub app-based authentication is that it is able to ingest the user email data into the SEI system, which essentially helps when you're trying to merge two different contributors where the user email acts as a correlation factor. Secondly, while using the GitHub app-based authentication, the ingestion process for the data from GitHub into the SEI system is relatively quicker as compared to the PAT-based authentication method. Now, once you click on select, the first page would essentially list down some of the pre-flight checks that you should perform before configuring this integration. That includes to confirm if you are the owner of the GitHub organization for which you are trying to create this GitHub integration, and also how you can verify if you're an owner for a given organization in GitHub platform. And in case you have already used this authentication method previously and you already have a GitHub app configured, then ideally you'll have to uninstall that first and then go ahead and create a new GitHub integration using the GitHub app. Now, this page essentially lists down all the steps that we need to perform while authenticating with the GitHub platform. That includes selecting the right organization and then selecting the set of repositories that I want to ingest into the SEI system. I can select a set of repositories or also select all the repositories, and then finally installing the GitHub app into the organization in GitHub. Now, in case you've already configured this integration using this authentication method, you'd have to uninstall the GitHub app first from your GitHub organization and then come back and create a new integration using the GitHub app-based authentication. So I'll quickly go ahead and click on connect to GitHub, which will redirect me back to the GitHub app marketplace. And as you can see, we have the Harness SEI GitHub app, and we have an option to configure this. If I click on configure, it will redirect me back to the organizations page. Now, this will essentially list down all the organizations that you are part of in the GitHub platform. And this is exactly where you will have to select the organization for which you want to create this integration. So for this video, I'll go ahead and select the organization as my personal account. And the next step would be to specify the repositories for which I want to ingest data. Now, this feature is really useful for organizations where you have a very large set of repositories and you don't want to ingest all the data into SEI. So you can go ahead and select this only select repositories option, and you can specify the repositories for which you want to ingest data into the SEI system. I'll keep it as all repositories for now and click on install, and it'll redirect me back to the Harness SEI integration configuration page where it says that the connection is established. And if I click on enter overview, I can give it a name for this integration. Let's call it GitHub demo. And then I can also add some description and tags. These are optional, but can help you identify integrations in case you have multiple integrations. And then finally click on finalize integration. And that's it. The pre-flight checks are successful. My integration has been created, and the ID for this integration is 203. Now, under the Your Integrations tab, I can view that the GitHub demo integration has been created. And under the Monitoring tab, I can view that the ingestion job has been scheduled. And once the ingestion has been started, it would essentially reflect the correct status as successful. One quick thing to note here is that once your integration has been created, and let's say if you want to update the configuration and you don't want to ingest all the repositories, you essentially can do that under the configuration settings, where you can Again, select a specific set of repositories that essentially you want to ingest, and then just click on save, and it will update your integration configuration to only ingest the set of repositories that you just specified. And that's it for this video. I hope this was useful for you. In case you have any queries, feel free to reach out to us on Harness support, and make sure to check out the documentation for step-by-step instructions on how you can configure a GitHub integration using the GitHub app. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.